All right, episode 166. It's different today, Brian. Episode 166. Interest rates are down. Opportunity is up. Recession over. You're about to find out.
Right now. Our little intro just reminded me we have the real producers event tomorrow. The ESPYs tomorrow.
That's right. For Team of the Year.
Team of the Year for Nicolas and the good home 10.
Yeah. Hopefully we pull it out.
Who else on your squad is up? Is Betnick up for something?
Betnick's up for social media something.
Social media. Guy in my news feed.
Yeah,
he's up for that.
I tried to get Nate for Rise and Grind. Nate and Joanna were competing on that, and they both didn't make it past.
Who grinds harder than Nate?
Maybe Joanna.
I saw their post,
but not harder.
Some innuendo, and you brought Joanna.
They were there till 8:30 last night. I saw it.
Yeah.
Brian's having so much coffee; it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
this is
so
like
much.
My fifth coffee of the day.
You know, that's the type of coffee my mom drinks.
Office coffee. Office coffee is not real. I can have 10 cups of office coffee a day and no caffeine. I'm telling you, it's not real.
Office coffee doesn't exist. Let's admit, we don't have the typical old office experience where you had like the stinky pot of coffee burning in the back, right? Everybody's got Keurigs and pods, and some guy shows up from Perks and Rec or whatever the hell his name is.
Perks and Rec, that's awesome.
And then he just brings us coffee.
Yeah.
New coffee company.
Really quick, episode 166. Today we're talking about interest rates are down. We're seeing opportunity up, and we'll go into why opportunity is up. And look, just for fun, recession's over. Like, everyone can worry.
Thank God.
It's done. We can stop talking.
I thought I was going to have to learn how to sell real estate again, but since the recession is over, I'm going to go back to chilling.
And you know why this recession is over? It's because of our great sponsors. So Mortgage Mike has declared the recession over. He says, come get that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval. Send all your buyers there because interest rates are down. Right? So send those buyers over to Mortgage Mike. Go to mortgagemikeoftexas.com. He's licensed here in Texas and in Oklahoma, so ask for that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval. Then connect with Theron Smith over at Armadillo Home Warranty. It's not your father's home warranty or your grandpa's home warranty. It is today's home warranty. One-page contract, not a lot of pre-existing conditions or whatever they call it in there.
I feel like if it's not like your older lineage type of like home warranty, then we need to take it the other way. We could call this like Theron needs to say this is your son's home warranty. This is your fetus's home warranty.
So on your
so progressive.
First off, you have on your calendar at 10 a.m. to buy a home warranty.
Yeah, because it's 1 year since I closed on that property.
Well, happy 1 year anniversary.
This just goes. You know what? We're going to keep doing people in a minute, but Jesse can flash back and forth. We're going to keep doing advertisements, but I want to point out something that just happened that just once again shows how different you can be from a person and yet be in business with them. Brian on his calendar set a reminder a year ago to purchase a home warranty at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And I can't get a fucking haircut.
Yeah.
I was going to say something.
First off, shouldn't you just have that leveraged out, by the way?
I probably could have. I could have in the last year leveraged it out. I just put it a year ago and forgot about it. So now that I remembered going forward, I should.
Whoa.
Theron actually comes up with his name.
That's been like the first time in a while. It's actually him.
So comes in with that hot sports.
Is he holding a sloth?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Do you have a pet sloth now?
Dude, this guy weirdly has the most exciting life I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He just he wears a fanny pack. He hangs out with sloths. He plays the guitar. I don't think he cusses.
Y'all make your dinners too far away. I don't have a place to have family dinners. Otherwise, they'd be closer. But I have to drive. I gotta drive like an hour and a half to every family dinner. They wonder why I'm late.
Maybe soon, Brian will have an 8,000 square foot house.
That's what he said.
So that he can have a dinner party every night, and it's a themed party.
He's like a 25-year-old YouTuber.
Yeah,
I told you guys, like we're doing vision boards in a couple weeks, and I've been warning everybody. Like all I want, and you guys can relate. All I want is to have dinner with people. My vision board is gonna be me with like. Who are the stock people in picture frames when you buy them? This is going to be me and all of those people just eating dinners. It's going to be my vision board.
You know what? Heather's vision board is just her sitting in an empty, quiet room. for dinner.
It's just a picture of her on the background of an entirely empty board.
Yes.
I would like to hear, like, for everybody who watches the show regularly, or if you just started watching and you just think you got us figured out, the one thing that you think we should put on our vision boards based off what you know about us.
Oh, that would be great.
Comment below.
Pretty
I would challenge that about Heather, though, because every time we all have dinner together.
Hers would have a charcuterie board on her vision board.
And Heather and I have a pot of coffee, and we have a blast.
Yeah. She's definitely she's got the caffeine hangover the next day all the time when the forces come over. But so you won't have a hangover with Armadillo home warranties. So go to armadillo.1/tour, TORE. And look, you want the best property management company here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, right?
The only one.
And it's the only one that you should know and will know. And that's Dana Wynn over at Homeward DFW. Just go to homewarddfw.com. Send your clients there. If you're an investor yourself, send your properties to us. If you want to learn investment, just connect with Dana. She's great at it.
We just picked up 6 more yesterday.
Ooh.
6 more. Yep, five multifamily units and individual house. It's funny, the house thing. I'll tell you this.
Yeah, what's that? I didn't even hear about that.
So this is for real estate agents. We actually sent out the paperwork today on it. This is for real estate agents when you're just not thinking about the different ways that you can be parlaying conversations into stuff right now. This was an expired appointment that I set on somebody who bought their house in 2021, right? They were just super excited about capitalizing on the market at first, and then life took them to Florida. They have to move to Florida. They are going.
Okay.
They had the house on the market. We kind of talked a little bit from the sales perspective as far as what they could get. They weren't able to stomach the punch in the gut of barely owning the house for not even 2 years. So they decided that renting it was going to be a better option. So I connected with Dana and I got with Dana about the property management side and got them into it. Here's the cool thing is I still have all the communication with those clients, not because I want to, or not because I have to, because I've decided to.
Yeah.
When they sell, those are still going to be listing clients for me, right? They're super excited about the way that we're handling the property management side of things. We're having the market on the property on the market by the middle of next week. They're going to be able to stay in it because it's already listed like it was already looks like they were trying to sell it. It's already staged. They're going to stay in it until we find them a tenant. They're going to be able to ensure they have a tenant and then move to Florida kind of stress-free while we take care of that property here. And then they'll be in Florida. They'll either come back in 5 years or they'll liquidate it. Either way, I've set them and myself up for future opportunity.
Honestly, we take good care of them. They come back, they're not going to want to liquidate it in 5 years.
No,
that's the thing. They might add more, right? Whatever.
This is kind of antithesis of what we do for a living, but don't sell your real estate, guys.
No, and that's something that they're kind of forced into this position, right?
Sure.
And ultimately now you can become their wealth building expert.
When does money change hands, Nick?
Only when problems are solved.
Boom.
So money changes hands when problems are solved. And so on that, are we going to make that every show? Because I think I can say that every show.
I like it's our new little bit for a while.
I like the idea of like a dude that just mugs people for a living saying that, where he's just like, he mugs a dude and he's like, money changes hands when problems are solved.
Doesn't sound like you solved your own problem. Yeah, exactly. Should have.
Could we make a shirt with that? Like that could be a shirt saying.
Yeah, dude, we do need tour merch.
I started the tour merch site. I just didn't have the time to do it. We had the World Bird Fighting
Brian Fox can make our
Championships
shirts for us.
T-shirt, which was hysterical. I got a logo for it and everything. I have coffee teeth right now.
Yeah, you do.
But anyway, we had a whole merch store. Yeah. It's a lot to run. Those things are more complicated.
I want to give a shout out to Guy Arnold. He messaged me and just talked about how he loves watching the show. Whether he tries to watch it live, if not, always catches the replay. He loves really how we've gotten more talking about more local. You know, we still keep it national, but also we'll talk about the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So
and thank you to whoever was listening from Washington D.C.
Yeah,
That's very kind.
Yeah, and so Guy, we definitely appreciate you tuning in. And if you haven't gone back and listened to episode 165, we had Armando Montalongo on, star of Flip This House. And I will tell you, I had some people reaching out on that one. Just he didn't have a rosy outlook in terms of for real estate agents. Even though now this episode we're saying recession over, just as kind of comedy, but
or is it?
It may be. But he talked about how you can be a value add to your clients, and that is really going after investors. That is now Matt can take that client into, once they rent their house out, they get to Florida. Now let's go build them a gaggle of houses.
A gaggle. That's super true. I don't know that he was necessarily. I think he was very realistic about what real estate agents need to do.
For sure.
And this is real estate agents need to be economic advisors for their clients right now too, and the opportunities might just not be in regular like buyer and seller like homestead transactions. There's actually a lot of need for real estate agents that understand how to navigate different deal structures and different conversations. Not even necessarily distressed properties, but distressed situations, maybe you could call them, or different situations, right?
What did I see a post? And this came from Corey Thompson, investor. Yeah. He talked about we need to stop looking for distressed properties or distressed sellers. Or distressed properties. We need to look for distressed assets or something like that. Distressed owners that have distressed assets or something like that. And I was like, all right, it makes sense. And that's something that you can skill up on, right? So ultimately, you can take that and skill it up, and now you're a value add to your database, or as Wall Eli Berry calls it, your data bank.
Well, and one of the cool things he said. First off, one of the things I want to acknowledge, and I think we talked about this off air. I definitely talked about it with somebody else. His energy and even him as a person could not be more different than 20 months ago when we talked to him.
Yeah.
And it was really telling because I cannot remember what we talked about this on. I hope I didn't say it on last week's podcast. Dude, it is awesome. And as my life has grown and I've been able to be around more people that are successful in real estate and entrepreneurship specifically in general, you start to see these really beautiful commonalities of them becoming super detached to the outcome of things. And that was what I picked up from him. He was very frantic and still like crotch first when we interviewed him in December of 2020.
Yeah.
He was not that dude last week at all. Humble is not it, because I don't think humble would describe him, and I don't mean that negatively. He's just not going to walk around telling you he's not awesome, right?
No, yeah, he's very self-assured, and
course.
He should be.
And as he should be, exactly. But where he was coming from yesterday was not like he had something to bring to you. That was a person who understands what their purpose is, and not that their purpose is to make money. I think he really understands that he is helping other people, and he is confident that regardless of what anybody else thinks about what he's doing with federal tax liens or whatever, that he is actually out there solving problems for people and making people's lives easier. And that was really, really evident. And I think that's one of these things we don't dive into mindset very much anymore, and I'm happy about that because it's a long conversation. But you start to see these commonalities in people that when they are really sure of their path and they have been doing something for a long time, they come across as almost weirdly calm. And that was the vibe I got from him that I did not get the first time around.
This is this is such a great point because you're 100% right. And isn't it true that a lot of people that we know, that I certainly aspire to embody what they've accomplished in some way, shape, or form. I think we oftentimes come back to this idea of being detached from the outcome. And we talk about this is this funny thing that we do. When you become really successful, the people that we aspire to emulate in some way, shape, or form, we always talk about them being detached from the outcome. And then we also do this funny thing where we if we got a chance to ask those people questions, we'd be like, what would you do differently if you knew what you knew now or whatever, right? And a lot of times they say very simple advice, right? And then we go back to whatever we're doing and we continue to overcomplicate things and talk ourselves out of taking massive action and talk ourselves out of doing simplifying things, and we create creative avoidance and all this type of stuff in our world. And it's actually, if you just take building a real estate business, that's what the show is about, for example, when you figure out your math, what you need to do, appointments-wise or transaction-wise or whatever, that's already there. That's the path. And then we create all of these demons in our world that keep us from traveling that path. But then the people that have traveled that path, that are able to actually be detached from the outcome, we look back and like, what advice would you give me? And you're like, fucking the thing that I'm doing now. Just, right? Just be detached from it, understand it, accept it, and then travel the path. Know it's going to be hard and detach yourself from the outcome. You're like, it's not really the advice I was looking for.
No. There will always be people who shit on successful people saying that they're able to make certain decisions based on what they currently have, and that's fine. If that's your mindset, you're not going to hear this conversation anyways. So kindly tune out. But I will tell you
back next week.
You're already.
But you'll get there eventually, right?
You're trying to play the game from foul territory.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just not going to argue with somebody who just says their evidence is what they think. Yes. I'm just not going to have a long discussion with you on that. Yeah. The one thing that was really telling, even from a tactical standpoint, and this is something that I've used in conversations since last week, was when he was talking about he's not buying stuff that's not 60 cents on the dollar. He is so positive of what he needs to be investing in right now for his strategy to work. Fuck if you think his strategy is for you or not, or that every investor is going to want 60 cents cents on the dollar type of deals. He is super self-assured of what he's going to do. And I've been able to take that into conversations that I just had this week with expires and be like, look, I absolutely understand your desire to get X, Y, and Z. Let me tell you what investor offers are looking right now. Yeah. I was talking to a huge investor the other day, and here's what his strategy is. Yeah. Is that something you're even going to think about? And the answer is obviously, of course not.
Well, and he also said, look, another thing that was really telling is right now, he was saying that he's not buying anything till February.
Yeah, not
right. So
really at all.
He's holding until the first quarter of 23 to ultimately see, one, to let whatever's happening play out, so that prices have fallen. He can see more opportunity, and then he can see potentially where my take isn't where that rebound's going to be.
So that kind of brings us to what we meant to talk about today.
I thought we were already talking about it.
No, yeah, I mean, we just rates are down.
So I'm the one who always brings it back in. Look at
he does.
I know. I'm trying to keep us on track.
It's all this office coffee. He's able to now to wrangle it back in.
I know, I'm super down.
Do you want to sit in this seat?
I'm drinking office coffee, and I watched Lost last night. I'm like a real corporate dude right now.
What is Lost?
TV show?
Wait, what?
Is it an old?
I'm talking about how white collar I am.
Time out.
Right.
Can we acknowledge the fact that Nick doesn't know what Lost is?
Matt, we asked Nick to name a band a few weeks
I
ago.
get that. But
Any band.
how did you just wander through the early 2000s and not stumble in? Have you not seen This Is 40? Are you not a Paul Rudd fan?
Oh, I like that. That's a movie. Yes.
Okay, so his oldest daughter in This Is 40 is like obsessed with Lost.
Like a decade too late.
Which I just took it to a whole other movie, so I know now you are completely lost.
You're getting meta with the fucking pop culture reference.
Everybody just inbox Nick's random pop culture things and ask him if he knows about them. Let's make that a game.
Oh,
if you do that every week, we will bring up the most obvious thing Nick didn't know about.
Can we start a bit, and I don't know if he's going to have time for it, but if he could, this would be amazing. Can we start a bit where Nick just sort of discovers the world one episode at a time? Like, we check in with him. We give him a prompt. Like, he's got to watch The Wire, like, start to finish. And we check in with him every week, and he gives us, like, his thoughts on Omar and what's going on this week in The Wire. Like, we just do it 25 years behind.
There's no way.
But he talks about it as it's happening in real life.
I agree.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, I watch shows that Heather has, like, we watch Yellowstone.
All right.
Okay,
so I don't watch that, so you're already ahead of me in that.
Yeah.
People say Yellowstone murders. I've never gotten into it.
It's great.
Pretty solid.
Cowboys are hot right now. Everybody's in the Cowboys.
We watch Jack Ryan
except for the actual Cowboys.
Jack Reacher.
Okay. Perfect example of two things that are better as books. Jack Ryan is an amazing character in the book. Jack Reacher, here's my problem with Jack Reacher. And for those of you who know that, what are we talking about right now? I've read a ton of these Jack Reacher books, but I think the guy who writes them, his last name is like Child or something like that. That's a super cool character. He's a super cool character in the books, but it's also, each book is like an episode of Entourage. This guy blows into town. Right? There's crime going on. He's like the Rock and Walking Tall. Right? So he blows into town. There's crime going on.
No idea.
He starts wholesale beating ass. There's some woman there who thinks he's a dick, but then she loves him.
Yeah, 100%.
They make love, right? For like 2 chapters. And then every time at the end of every book, he's got to go.
He's got to go.
And then goes on to the next.
He's already retired, probably. He's got to go. He shouldn't even be here.
He's an old military MP, just out righting wrongs, bro.
Why can't we make this like a real estate show? Like,
I don't know.
Why can't you go into any city and you're going to take over that real estate?
Just take it over.
And you're going to have I'm
going to do B2B interviews. Yeah, I'm going to hold open houses.
There's real estate enemies that you're going to take them down. You're going to take them down.
That's what it comes. Farm the shit out of their neighborhoods.
And then I love any show where the premise starts with the guy just blowing into town.
He does, dude. He just comes in.
And then we find out later that Kelderman's not licensed in that state. And he's sued.
But he leaves town. It doesn't matter.
It's weird every time. I don't even care. I'm not putting my broker on shit.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Are Cowboys the new vampires? Is that what we said on Yellowstone?
Most definitely.
Yeah,
and like speaking as
it happen in cycles.
Like I happen to have a beard, so this isn't a biased opinion. I'm just growing one because my face is super fat.
Yeah.
But beards also.
Would you
everybody's beards.
You guys would not be able to guess on this show that he only has the second best beard of the people at this table.
It's true.
Yeah.
We've got a guy
model
who's basically Wilson from Home Improvement that you guys barely ever see. He's got such a majestic beard. He has all the tools and the oils. and stuff. He's got everything.
I was thinking about putting out a little like how-to on how to style.
You should do it at
I love it.
real estate beard open house.
Dude. I honestly get asked about probably once or twice a week on how I style it.
Dude.
Not lying.
I ask.
Have you ever tried a different style like cornrows?
No, it's not long enough.
Would you?
Oh, really?
Just two braids, just bring it down the side.
Right?
Isn't that a House of Pain bit?
It's a House of Pain, or is that Korn?
Oh,
The guy from the
it's
Korn. Is that the drummer from Korn who's now the I Am Second guy?
He's with Hole.
Yes. He went really hardcore Christian.
He did. He's like, he's way out on that.
Yeah. If I had to hang out with the dudes from Korn for that long, I might be looking for the light too. Not because of their message. They just seem like
mortgage rates are under 7%. I'm tired of talking bands. All right.
I can't.
I'm going to sit here and not say anything if we're talking bands.
I know.
So,
get in here, Nicholas.
So,
Done.
Barron, recession's over. Yes, and so look, mortgage rates have responded favorably to the news that inflation wasn't as high as what they were anticipating.
Yeah.
Right. So the market has responded relatively well. And even today, what was the Treasury?
Treasury was down under 36, 36.92 at the close. That's great. Another TNX for you. TNX 3.692. That's very good. If you see that, go back to 3 month. Wow.
So 3 months ago.
So you see it coming up and you see it leveling off.
They can't see anything. You got to tell them what you're
sorry. So we've climbed steadily into October, and we are down from the peaks of really early November.
A year ago.
We're down 30% in the Treasury. The 10-year Treasury is down about 30% since its peak in early November.
So here's what that relates to, right? So with right now rates have dipped below 7%. And we've seen actually mortgage applications are up 4%, and so that's
month over month or year over year.
I think it's month over month.
Okay,
yeah.
Even though it's a shorter sample size, I do like that because I think some of the reasons that, especially going into this, we were talking about like applications are up, which it's a nice little indicator of what buyer sentiment is. I think nobody's applying right now for a refinance.
No.
So applications being up is indicative of new buyers coming in saying, "Hey, I kind of want to play right now," which I think is encouraging for real estate agents because refis just aren't a part of many real estate agents' wealth building platforms. Selling houses is. So applications being up in a high interest market's great, right?
Look at it this way then. So rates are down. So you've been facing these objections over the past 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks of I'm no longer buying, rates are too high. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to see where next year takes it. And now we're seeing those rates fall down. And if you've been living under a rock, hopefully your lender, if not, get to Mortgage Mike, so mortgagemikeoftexas.com, and ask him about what the 2-1 buy down is.
Well, especially if you've been living under a rock, because that can't be comfortable.
Exactly.
You need to buy a house.
Exactly. So a 2-1 buy down, now with rates under 7%, now we're able to get a buyer into the mid to high 4s for the first year. So now we're going back, we're getting them an interest rate that is ultimately what it's been the last couple of years before we've seen this huge spike in interest rates. And so we will see these opportunistic buyers take advantage of it.
Let's also talk about the other interest rate opportunity right now because builders are bending over backwards and to get you and you can tell all their marketing people are telling them make that bitch start with a 4 because they're at 4.99 and I've got multiple emails from local builders who are offering 4.99% interest rates and on the agent side offering concessions to agents back the way they used to be as far as increased percentages with deals and things like that.
Yes.
That's super telling, right? And while I always want you to have the best experience, and I think sometimes if you are using everybody who the builder owns, that may not work out for you. Keep in mind when the builder offers you a 4.99, it's because they own the lender as well, right? So everybody's working on the other side of the fence as you, and the builder is incentivized not to take a giant dump on that transaction,
right?
Because they want people to continue to come for them. And if
vertical alignment does create accountability across the board.
It does, but it also allows for opportunity. So, like the new build community, the new builds, which were not really much of an opportunity in the middle of all of this stuff because there weren't any, are a huge opportunity now because not only are they willing to give concessions, interest rates are incredibly low. They're willing to negotiate on price. They're paying higher commissions to agents, right? They're doing all of those things. And I think agents need to start looking. I know everybody doesn't have that opportunity in their market, but in North Texas, you 100% do.
But if they don't have it, they will have it soon, right? Because ultimately, what these builders are doing is they've got a small window to go lock these buyer demands in, right? Yeah. So they're going to come and offer you the moon, and it could last until what? Maybe the first of the year, or if December, when December rolls around and that Fed rate and inflation numbers come back out and it's not favorable, then we go back in the other direction.
100%. Well, and I'll even add on to that just a little bit. I'll keep this really short. We talked about this in our team meeting yesterday, right? Like, everything is based off the news and the doom and gloom and the sentiment. I think we can agree that before the market really shifted hard, in early summer this year, back in May was where the highest prices were, at least in North Texas, right? So if we just take North Texas as an example, pricing reached its peak in May. If you turned on the news in May, it was still the hottest housing market ever, blah, blah, blah. 75 people lined up outside the new build or the open house or whatever, right? And rates had still climbed at that point to about 5.5%. Prices have come down about 15% since then. And average rates on Friday, actually on Monday, were like 6.62. Your payment on a homestead with 5% down would actually be $278 on average lower than it would be in May, based on the pricing, even at a higher interest rate. That's before a concession for a buy down. And so, actually, 6.64 right now? Okay, same deal, right? So it's actually more affordable to buy a house right now than it was at the best time to buy a house ever. I only say that to say, we've talked about this a lot. Opportunity never disappears, it just manifests itself differently. You will not be able to take advantage of these opportunities as an agent if you don't do two things. If you don't educate yourself to have better conversations, and if you're not resilient enough to have better conversations. Our good friend and friend of the show, Jason Kaufman, sent us a video today of him doing live calls with a buyer lead. Oh my gosh, the power of continuing to ask questions and asking continuing questions. He took that buyer lead from I am just not doing anything ever to let's go see a house tomorrow. And the way he did it with just asking continuing questions, I talked about this on our group coaching today. People aren't trying to shut you down. If they're a prospect, they're not trying to, you need to be resilient, not because they're not trying to have a conversation with you. They actually don't know what conversation to have. They're listening to the news. They're listening to their friends. They're listening to their parents. Listening to people at work, right, who are getting them caught up on Lost or whatever, right? Like, they're listening to all the wrong people. No prospect is going to come to you and be like, hey, I'm not super educated. I've never bought a house before. The last time I did was 7 years ago. Everyone in my world is scaring me. I get most of my news from Facebook and CNN. It feels like a bad time to buy, but I'm not totally educated. This is not my vocation, so I don't study the markets for a living. Can you help me understand the reality of the markets right now and whether or not this is a good decision for me? Instead, they're going to go, now we're just going to wait till next year or whatever, right? Like, you have to be resilient, not because you're being pushy, because people don't understand the conversation you're trying to have because they're not allowing themselves to inhabit that mind space right now.
And this is where I think agents who have that like natural mindset to just be like, well, I'm just not a salesy agent. They will take these kinds of conversations and try and twist it into that. It isn't like I have never in my real estate career convinced someone to buy a house that was not looking for a house.
Yeah. Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, let me just tell you, you're not that good at whatever it is you think you are, that you're going to convince somebody to make an investment of 6 figures times 2, 3, 4 in some scenarios, right?
Sell me this pen.
Yeah, because it's not good for them, right? Like, look, can you do stupid shit when you're under contract and cost your clients money and not put them in the best position to win? Absolutely.
Yeah, but you can be good enough to be dangerous.
Yes, but I will just tell you, you're not great enough to take some person who has no desire to move or no ability to move and all of a sudden make them move. You're just not that great of a salesperson. And neither is Grant Cardone or anybody else who's feeding you the bullshit that makes you feel like they're salesy people.
100%.
People move when they are ready to move. There is no good or bad time to buy real estate. There is only the time that works best for you. Yeah. And if you show them how it could, the problem is what you're actually doing is you might be costing them money by not being able to ask better questions and show them how this time might make sense for them.
That's exactly what it is. You can be good enough to help someone have a better conversation that they don't understand how to have yet. And if you think that's salesy, you're not going to do great in this market. That's all you're doing. You're not being salesy. People need to be asked better questions for them to have better conversations. Because you have to understand, most of the real estate professionals out there, they're not having good conversations, and they're putting most of the prospects, most of the available prospects out there in a headspace where they're not prepared to have better conversations. It's actually up to you to ask better questions in order to allow them to have a better conversation that might feel like pushiness. It's actually you just being a better conversationalist.
So, and I'll let you get to what but I want to talk about this because Brian and I did an event last Thursday prior to doing the show, and we talked about it a little bit, but now that we've had a week to digest it, the room was not full, right? But there were enough agents in there to get a feel for what people were understanding of the market. And I will tell you, there is stuff that we talk about on this show, that we have been talking about on this show for months, right? That agents think is just groundbreaking ideas, right? 2-1 rate buy downs. Like, I almost feel silly talking about that because I know there are agents out there who are like, I understand that completely. Know that if you understand that, you are in like the top 20% of agents who really get where we're going.
Maybe top 10. Generous.
Right?
Yeah, right.
And that might be. But my whole point being is don't be discouraged by the fact that some of this seems like it's outside of the norm, because that is what most of the real estate industry is thinking. And I saw it on people's faces. And it was a really unique moment that you don't get to have very often when you kind of teach these classes. Usually talking to a screen or talking to Zoom, people are disengaged. When you get in a room with people and can see their eyes light up around an idea, and one, it's encouraging because you know you just maybe triggered something in them. But then also there's this part of this, it's like, man, I feel like this class that we're teaching is pretty like in line with what I'm hearing and what we're talking about. And this sounds like this is brand new information to this room, right? Just know that from a real estate industry perspective, you don't have to walk very far down this path to know more than your competition.
Well, so to hammer that point in is if the majority of agents don't know about it, then what do the consumers know or don't know?
Even like way less.
That's why I say,
their information
if you're
is
getting
bad.
pushback, it's because most of the industry doesn't have better conversations. Yep. So how do you think most prospects are going to react to your initial conversation? They're going to be more hesitant because we're underserving them as an industry regardless. Yep. So you're going to have to ask better questions.
So it comes down from an educating yourself and understanding
yourself.
it. So this is something that, Theron from a recession over kind of joke is the NAR has their what does NAR got? NAR's got some conference going on. The NAR's annual conference in Orlando right now.
Shred the NAR.
Generic.
Right? And so
Seems like fun.
Lawrence Young, the National Association of Realtors chief economist, predicts this.
Already fell asleep.
Exactly. But we need to know it, right? So Young predicted in 2022, so we would end with home sales down 15% year over year, and it will further decline by 7% in 2023, which is okay. That's not a terrible decline next year, correct?
No.
Before going up 10% in 2024. So ultimately, what the kind of projections with everything is next year, 2023 is going to be a little rough, but if we're down 15% this year and only down 7% next year, if you do your daily activities, if you go search for a motivated seller, a motivated buyer every single day, you will stay in this business.
Yeah.
There's many of you who will not do that. There's 1.7 million licensed realtors, and we will probably see that fall to a million, 1-1.
I'm saying 30 to 35% like net number at the very end of this, like because of people coming in.
I scored a 2 for optimism on my KPA. So I said 50.
So Brian says there'll be these people in this room and like 6 others.
We're all that's left.
Here's the crazy part. My KPA is my optimism's a lot lower, but I'm trying to be optimistic on this and say that because you're listening to the show.
I think you have to be optimistic because at the end of the day, it does cost less than $1,000 a year to keep your real estate license. It is not much just to hang on to it. The amount of agents whose business will match or grow
that's different.
Is where your 2 in optimism should be.
That's fair. Can I give you an HSO on this, though? And this is
what does that even mean, Brian?
Hot
real estate opinion.
Yes. HRO.
There we go. HRO. A hero.
Careful.
Hero. This is not to make anybody feel bad or to gloat in hindsight or make it weird.
But we're awesome.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I mean, look, you guys should build a studio.
Drink coffee out of
pictures
this.
we have.
Right. If transaction volume falls by, what'd you say, 20%?
15%.
15%. And even if prices decline by 15 or 30% since 2019, and especially 2020, since that run up, even if they fall to a level where appreciation was only like 25% probably total in those few years, isn't volume pretty much stabilizing as far as like the volume that you sell? If your transactions were reduced by 20-something%, okay, and the volume was increased by 25%, isn't that a net so long as I didn't live so fat and happy in the good years? Like are
assuming
we dollar for dollar?
Assuming you can go in and do the exact same amount of transactions, right? Because if the transactions fall,
no, because your transactions will fall by 20%.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying. But your prices will be 25% higher.
I guess maybe I'm looking for this the standpoint of the mental side. You're right. Mathematically, that works out fine. I'm thinking
now that's in a vacuum.
I'm thinking of the reality is
Yeah.
most agents being entrepreneurial by nature, wanting their business to grow. When business doesn't grow, it's
Yeah.
usually a kick in the ass for most of them. If business moves backwards, are they going to keep the same level of intensity, or does self-doubt creep in and then become the self-fulfilling prophecy?
That's a real
The human element
from
is
a
the part of
mathematical
this.
standpoint.
Yeah.
If I sold 25 houses and then I only sell 20 or 18, but they're all worth 25% more, I should be fine. So long as I manage my money well. It's more about the mental aspect.
Yeah.
Do I
suck at this all of a sudden?
Yes.
Does
Am I
everybody
doing
know
things the
something
same
I
way?
don't know?
Yeah.
Why can't I sell houses anymore? Are sellers smarter than me?
Right.
Am I lying to buyers? Like if you haven't asked yourself those questions, I just question whether or not you've went hard enough in the paint. Not because you're doing those things, but if you've never felt like an idiot around different areas of real estate, meaning am I really qualified to be helping these people do that? You are incredibly self-assured or a liar.
Nick and I actually talk about this a lot, and our amazing business partner Adam Hergenroth and I talk about this a lot. I actually feel more imposter syndrome the further along we get in this journey than I ever did when no one was counting on me.
Because there's less people to give you boundaries.
Yes.
Bro,
Here's the thing:
when I was out door knocking all day, I thought I was the shit.
and I've heard you talk about door knocking. You know why it worked for your brain? Because Brett Caldwell told you 40% of the people you home at any given time. You knew that if you knocked on 10 doors, you were going to talk to 4 people.
Yeah.
You know you don't know as a team leader and a CEO now. What's going
I don't
to
know what
happen?
everybody else is gonna do.
Ever?
Yeah, 100%. It is talk about
There's
losing.
no boundaries. The car could drive in a straight lane, or it can drive all over the road, and I'm just suffering whiplash all day long.
I had this conversation with one of our business partners yesterday for an hour about allowing yourself to let go of control of certain things and how many things I've had to let go of control of in my life. And you guys as well, right? And how scary that can be. But you're super right. I was supremely confident when it was being door knocking because I just knew you have 24 hours in this day. You can knock X amount of doors. That should work or whatever.
Here's the encouraging thing. As a real estate agent, you've already done this. If you were a full-time real estate agent who this is the only thing you do, you've already relinquished this control. You just may not know. You walked away from something else where you were making money, most likely, right? A very small percentage of people came to real estate from just doing nothing of value, right? Whether you were getting paid or you were bringing value to a household, you were bringing value somewhere. You decided to take time away from that thing to move into real estate. You've already made this decision once in your life. It shouldn't be scary to make again. I understand that it is, and I suffer from this too, but it's just intellectually it shouldn't be. You've already done the hardest thing, which is bet on yourself, right? And if you can continue to do that, there's opportunity for you in all kinds of cool shit.
Could not agree more.
How long have we been on? Anybody still listen to the show?
Yeah, it's all-
No, this is actually super perfect for the moment. I think you're 100% right, dude. I want to do a fun one today, Jesse. Can we flip the script? I want to do it where we give Jesse a hypothetical and he has to look it up. And we can even take comments from the audience. It's like
Be good.
we do a prompt and then we try to figure it out. So, for example, we don't have to do this one, but how many tennis balls exist?
I like that this is. I first Google
It's
that.
got to
while
be
I'm-
6 billion.
First
I
off, I'm
think.
Googling this while he Googles this, but also, what you could comment is what is just the most random thing you've wondered about? Because this is one of the things I don't think we do enough.
No, that's in a tournament.
There's no
in a
way. 41
tournament.
grand just in a tournament.
Yeah.
300 million are manufactured globally every year.
Think of how many of those are just like getting chewed up by dogs.
Oh, 100%.
And left in like little culverts outside apartment complexes that have they have tennis courts.
Can you imagine being a tennis ball and you're produced for the U.S. Open and 10 years later you're just getting chewed up outside of some Class C apartment complex by a fucking mutt pit / Doberman mix?
I actually have this kind of
Slobbering
somewhat experience. I went to the 2010 World Series Game 3. The Rangers lost to the Giants 3-0. It was a total waste of $700. But
I think I
before
was
the
there.
game,
I was
really,
there, yeah.
really,
Yeah.
dude, that's awesome. I sat last row left field by the chain link fence supposed to keep you from dying.
We were first row of the second section.
Kiss my ass.
It was nice. They had really good
But
views
anyways,
of a
Benji
terrible
Molina
loss.
Yes.
threw a. They were like because you get into the World Series like 4 hours before the game, and I was there.
Of the catching Molinas.
And yes, and so he like threw just a ball they were playing catch with. It wasn't one of the World Series like holograph balls or whatever.
Yeah.
I loved that ball for like a year. I thought it was the coolest thing I owned. Right, and then the dog got a hold of it and chewed it up. And then instantly I remembered it's a baseball. Like I could literally go buy any MLB level baseball and tell anybody I got that from Benji Molina, and it wouldn't have like it didn't matter.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
I thought
So that's the Sandlot bit.
but then I thought about it. It was like, do I care that Benji Molina touched this ball? Like, can I go high five somebody that I would care about more than Benji Molina if I care about the actual presence of this ball in my life?
I mean, how many
Benji Molina on the street?
I wouldn't recognize him for beans, dude.
How many balls has Benji Molina touched?
I will say one time at the. I will say this is totally off Brian's thing, but I don't know if anybody else gets really weird when they do encounter any kind of celebrity in any ways. I have 3 very quick stories.
Oh, please.
Saw Jerry Stackhouse in Addison at Walmart at 10 p.m. getting out of his car, and he's wearing a Kangol, and all I screamed at him was, "Jerry Stackhouse!"
Just scream.
And I ran by him like an idiot. I met Ian Kinsler one time, and I'm not going to. Anybody who wants to know that story, reach out to me. I'll tell you privately. I'm not going to tell that one publicly. But made a complete ass out of myself based around religion, which I did not mean to do. I was trying to spark a conversation with somebody, but derailed myself, which was hilarious. And then I worked at Houston's, and I got to take Emmitt Smith ketchup one time, and I ran to the bathroom and called my dad and told him I just took Emmitt Smith ketchup.
That's probably the best one. Yeah. No, you know this about me. You've been there. These aren't A-level people, but you've seen me meet famous. This is just something I can hang my hat on. I've never gotten starstruck like that. You've seen me meet famous people in New York.
Absolutely.
And I turned around. I was like, "Hey, big fan, man."
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Who was it
And
we were
that was
sitting next to?
like, with Andrew Schultz and Dov Davidoff.
Judd Apatow.
And Judd Apatow.
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, cool. Good to see you,
awesome,
man."
dude.
Good to see you.
I was
Yeah,
working
good
at the
to
golf
see you.
course.
Good to see
I was
you,
working
bro.
at the golf course up at Texas Tech, and Bob Knight was playing around. Came up to my 9-hole grill station.
Threw a chair at you.
And he asked for a Diet Dr. Pepper, and I got it for him, and he said, "You're the best."
And now Jesse, every night before he goes to bed, looks in the mirror and reminds himself that Bob Knight told him.
100%.
Positive affirmation. I love it.
He didn't throw a chair. That's all that
Threw a
matters.
chair. Have you ever
We're not
met-
here next week, boys.
Have you ever met
No.
a famous person?
Yeah, I have.
He's sitting with 3 of us.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Who's the
Most
I meet
famous
myself
person
every day.
Who's the most famous person Nick Good has ever met? I feel like Nick wouldn't care at all.
Nick wouldn't even know.
No.
He could run into.
We hung out with President Bush last year at his Christmas party.
Jeez.
What the
All right, well,
I
lose.
What?
I saw Adam Sandler from a distance one
Yeah,
time.
he was talking about going to the World Series and catching a fucking ball in warm-ups, and you're hanging out with G-Dub, and you didn't even tell this. What are you talking
It's
about?
so awesome.
Heather's brother's fiance.
Yeah.
It was painted. He painted her in this book of refugees.
Okay.
And so she's gotten really close with his chief of staff. He texted he wants her to come hang out, and so they were in town last year. And
Did you guys blaze up?
Yeah, no. He had just had back surgery, so he was
definitely
on
blazed
some.
up.
He was on his
Yeah,
back.
he was already doing.
It's
all
more
right.
like codeine.
Yeah.
But they have their small group that comes to his library, and
He does it
So it's
at the
like
library?
there's like an intimate type of
yes,
environment.
Yes,
Were there
That
candles?
is awesome.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy cool.
I feel like
You've
there
probably
should be
seen the
candles.
photo right next to the guest bathroom.
Nick tells us we're friends with him, but we know nothing about him.
No.
Nick is. This is what I love about Nick. Is he's super understated about everything. We all.
I met George Bush.
All of our families the people in this room are in some way connected with his father-in-law, who's a great physician, who we go to for our medical stuff to keep our bodies in shape. And everywhere we got hooked up with him in the beginning to get the referral, he's like, he's like, man, it's going to be tough. You got to fly up to Aspen and meet with him. So just get ready for that. Or whatever. Like, he's like the coolest dude and a super amazing doctor. And Nick's like put off by the fact that he has to like travel and go to this ski in, ski out place to get amazing medical advice from this fucking awesome Aspen. Dude. And he's like, I know, it's a real beating, dude. Like,
that would be Nick's vision board, though. This is what I love. This is what I love about it. I was telling somebody this today, like, because I always like to reference, and we'll probably leave this at this, but I always like to reference like what you can do in real estate and like how you can parlay it into stuff. And I think that's the coolest thing about like the people who all sit at this freaking table, right? Yeah. Like Jesse was a teacher / band director, right? Like Brian and I were bartenders / whatever else bullshit we did,
male strippers,
and Nick was a pizza delivery guy. Like this is not like. And it's not that like that means like, oh, those people in those industries can't do anything and they're stupid. No, it's not. Like fundamentally, like nobody's dumb. Everybody has some business acumen and they all have specific talents. I also just think I will tell you, if you had went back and told Matt Kelderman when he was working at Applebee's in Ames, Iowa, right, like ringing up 23-ounce Brutuses for $3.25 and serving the people from Lobster next door trying to make $50 to buy a sack at the end of his shift, that ultimately he would be like where he is now, that dude would have kicked you in the nuts and told you were drunk and get out of his bar.
That's actually
like there's just no way I would have ever believed that.
That's
right?
super true, and I love where you're going with this. And I know we're trying to wrap it up. I want to do a hypothetical because that just prompted my brain. If you had to guess like one, I'm stuck in this situation from like a professional standpoint, not like a relationship or anything. Applebee's bartender at Ames, Iowa might be it for me.
Yeah.
Dude, it wasn't like there was like a whole lot of like, and here's the thing is I was only in Ames, Iowa to drop out of college. Like it wasn't there like getting an education. I went there on academic probation outside of high school, took 2 101 classes and was like, nah, dog, college ain't it. And then I hung around for 3 more years.
These people can't help
just
me.
Partying my face off.
The crazy part
bartender.
is you study more now than you would have going to that college.
100%. And because here's also, and I don't even know where we're going with this now, but like here's one of the coolest things about like what that meant was what I didn't realize was happening then, what I didn't realize was happening at Houston's, what I didn't realize was happening in all of this was I was getting my 10,000 hours of mastery. Right? Like that amount of time that we have to put into shit in order for things to like become more like, let's see if we can do this. The amount of time that we have to put into stuff, some of this stuff is happening in the background and you don't even know it. So don't feel like you have to wake up in the morning and learn a whole new thing. You've already got some of this in you. If you're feeling this pull towards entrepreneurship and this pull towards like business building and stuff, you already have some of the inherent qualities in you. You just have to figure out what it is that you've already done that will make those even more awesome.
Can I ask you, this is a different level of question, but it's just my curiosity. Whenever we all hang out and we drink coffee and have fun, I love our relationships now because we're talking about.
But you didn't before.
No.
Okay.
I fucking just hated you guys.
Just wanted to make
prior
sure.
to coffee, I couldn't stand any of you guys.
I'm just getting used to you guys being my friends, to be honest. No, like I love it. This is what I like. I've told everybody for a long time. Like my vision board is just me having dinner with people in different places. That's all I care about. Is just hanging out and talking to people. And I love that because the level of conversation is what I love, and I could do that forever. When I'm dropping out of college and partying in Ames, Iowa, what is 23-year-old Matt at Ames, Iowa? I'm hanging out with you for 5 hours at a party. What are we talking about?
Oh, absolutely nothing. Like nothing of any substance. I'm probably definitely telling you how cool I am the drunker I get. I'm probably super stoked about the weed I brought to said party. And if you're a girl, I was probably trying to mac on you a little bit. And Brian's a good-looking dude. I think Brian sans beard. Matt, like, but here's the thing is, you guys have to understand, vodka Red Bulls became popular when I was in college.
Oh,
So full disclosure, I graduated high school in 97. So all this was happening late 90s, early 2000s. And Red Bull, still to this day, but was so much more expensive than vodka that you would get like a 75% vodka pour. So like everybody was just way too drunk for themselves. So there really wasn't a lot going on.
That is true.
I definitely was dancing to Nelly and Fitty.
Yeah, if you ever want strong ass drinks, if you order something where your mixer is 75% more expensive than the alcohol, you'll get a super stout drink because they're saving that mixer for the markups.
Yeah.
So
Hawkeye vodka is $7 a bottle. A can of Red Bull is $2.
So I'm going to get a shitload of vodka if I order that. So that's just a hot sports opinion for you right there. A tip right there.
All those college students.
It's a pro tip right there. Order the most expensive mixer. You'll get almost all well vodka.
Yep.
And you'll be rolling in it. But that is, I can't remember either. Like, what did I talk about in college?
Oh, nothing.
I just can't remember.
I will tell you, we did. God, I'm reminiscing right now. So we after 2000, I was in college after 2001, and we had this map on the wall of Iraq, and we actually used thumbtacks to track what we were seeing on the news. This is back when the news was somewhat reliable, and I remember us using those things to like track our map. In our downstairs living room that had one of those birds that you connected to a string and spun it around, it would spin around the ceiling on top of a giant wooden box television that had a fish tank with a snake in it. That was my college experience, dude.
We were all in on Iraq in the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah, dude.
College kids following the Iraq war were all in on it.
We were
You're not the only guy I knew with a map.
No, we had the map, dude. We were tracking it.
When did Katie meet Matthew McConaughey?
So Matthew McConaughey and his brother used to work for Katie's grandfather in
Older
Midland.
or younger brother?
Older. Rooster.
There's no what?
100% Rooster.
They're on TV.
Yeah,
He's on
got a
TV.
show.
He has a TV show.
That's not a nickname.
No,
that's his name.
So his parents were like, we're going to name one guy Matthew
from the Bible
because we're normal.
Yeah.
And then the other guy we're going to name Rooster.
Yeah, that's the older brother.
That is the older brother.
Dude, you got to read Green Lights or listen to Green Lights.
Yeah.
It's really
I've
good.
heard it's unreal.
The audible of Green Lights is awesome.
I've heard it's unreal. So they worked in Midland for
Katie's grandfather. He owned a pipe yard in Midland in the early 80s.
Is it the best thing in the world or the worst thing in the world to be related to a super famous person?
Depends on whether or not you got an envious turn of spirit.
Yeah,
true.
That is a great way to put it. Turn of spirit.
Yeah,
exactly.
dude, if you're envious like that, like you could find a lot of hate in that. But also, there's a shitload of opportunity in being Matthew McConaughey's brother.
100%. Right? Well, and Rooster, I mean, he's super successful on his own.
Rooster was like mega rich based off his own business acumen. Yeah.
I'm the guy that said that my favorite MLB position that I could ever play is bullpen catcher. You don't ask me to play.
That's it.
Just that.
No way.
My knees.
No, once you're there and watching all that, you want to go on there. No,
it's why hiring an ISA doesn't work. Eventually, they're like, wait a minute, I'm making 5% to do this, and the agents are making this. They just level up. A good ISA is always
Katie. That's what I thought. It would be crazy if one guy was named Matt and the other guy was named Rooster.
What's his name? Mike.
The name's Mike.
Oh, they're all biblical too.
What does he do?
Yeah.
Can we get him on the show?
He owns
get him on the show.
He's in oil.
What is that show
He
about?
owns oil.
No, they do a Shark Tank style show.
Yeah, they do. It's for like
on
oil-based
said?
business.
No, it wasn't.
It's on
was
what?
it?
Yeah.
It's on what?
I don't even remember.
That's
cool.
Know. Probably
you can Google
CMT
it. Just
maybe.
look it up on your phone.
Shark oil.
Shark oil.
All right, let's get out of here. All right, thank you to our sponsors, MortgageMikeOfTexas.com. If you're looking for that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval, then get over to armadillo.1/tour, TORE, for that awesome home warranty. Last but not least, our favorite property management company, HomewardDFW.com. And that is the best property manager here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and probably all over.
Everybody wants to hang out with us, but when we start talking about stuff, viewership goes down. So this is it, folks. This is what it's like to hang out with the four of us. This is what we talk about.
Yeah,
90% of
six
what it is.
people.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the show today. Make sure if you're watching this on Facebook, you head over to our group, the only real estate group worth being a part of, so you can watch the extended conversation. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you listen on the Apple Podcast, leave us a review. We'd really like it. So just do it. Do it. Do that over there. Go to this one. Then go to that one. Thanks.